systems. Those were truncated when colonialism came. And as you know, the policy of indirect rule, it was decided by the colonial power to rule through the chiefs. And so the chiefs became the agents of the colonial power. And so that all changed the political systems in Africa. Once we emerged from colonialism, and that's why I said everybody decided to follow whatever path there was. And in those days, the leading ideological and political systems were either socialism or capitalism. And so Africa was forced to make a choice. And in those years, there was the Iron Curtain, and you had to show on which side you were. And so we conveniently formed the non-aligned movement. And many of us, when they hit there and say, we'd rather look east or west, but we look forward. Yeah, we were looking forward. But to get assistance from any of the blocks or to cooperate with any of the blocks, you needed to show that you were in alliance with them. With regards to democracy, I think that democracy, freedom are universal human values. And even though we might, for our Africanness, try to be protective of ours, I mean, still, when you have a leader who's old and senile, he has no business continuing to be leader. It doesn't matter whether it's Africa or wherever. You know, when you have leaders who, have problems in terms of thought, you know, they have no business continuing to be in leadership. And especially when you have a population, a continent as youthful as Africa. 60% of the population of Africa is young. And so, I mean, why would you have 80-year-old and 90-year-olds, you know, still, I was going to say they should be home looking after their grandfather, their grandchildren, but I recently became a grandfather myself, so. And so values of democracy are universal, and we need to continue to deepen democracy in the modern world. And so I would say that, yes, we're proud of our African heritage, but the values of protecting human rights and freedoms is something that every human being aspires to, and we cannot rule that out. With geopolitics, well, Europe and NATO, I would say, have been occupied with the Ukraine-Russia war. And several times, again, we're called on to choose which side, you know, we're on. When Tigray and Ethiopia are fighting, we don't ask you, who do you support? Or when two African countries are fighting, we don't ask anybody in the world who you support. We try to intervene and resolve it. And so I think that the priority should be how to resolve the conflict. Of course, I don't believe that it is right for one country to make an incursion into another, because if we condone that, then you don't know where it's going to end. And so after Ukraine, who else? And after who else, you know. And so we must maintain that geopolitics. And I do think that the international bodies like the UN, you know, should be the arena where we dialogue and seek solutions to this issue. I studied in Moscow for one of my postgraduates in social psychology. And so I'm familiar with Ukrainians and Russians. And if I see two of them, I can't tell the difference between them unless they open their mouths and I listen to the dialect, you know. And so they are one and the same people. And unfortunately, this war is taking a toll on lives. Women, children are suffering. We watch on TV every day. And I think that the time has come for some dialogue. I don't think that this war is winnable by any of the two sides. NATO and the West will continue to pour in arms to help Ukraine to hold its own, which probably is a good thing to defend themselves. But this war is not winnable. It will eventually be solved by dialogue. Why make it eat up more human lives before we sit and talk? I think the issue about